Man. Introduce Sony Trudel with Hydromobile. Sony is a manager of engineering and manager of special projects. Is that right, Sony? All right, you guys give Sony a warm round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Just put it a little higher. Okay, guys, so hi, everybody. I hope everybody got lunch and not to start to sleep in front of me, please. First, I'm going to start with a few topics. Safety. So I just want to So first, I'm going to tell you what happened with my end, but safety is always important, even if you're at home like me. So the thing is, and roughly, I met with a sub-bench on June 4th, and then I have 2 new braces, and AGF sponsored these rebars, specially made for my finger. So I'm very happy about it. And so now I was supposed to get those rebars for 4 weeks, but at the same time, they took a piece of bone in my wrist, and that caused my thumb to not come back reverse anymore because the tendon has been affected. So now I'm stuck. It's a better word than the F word. And if I pronounce any F word, please, I apologize, okay? Okay, so in the end, I'm now stuck with that prosthesis for 6-8 weeks to keep my thumb this side. So pay attention, it's pretty quick. So second topic I'd like to thank you, everybody, is for all American peoples that are here. Thank you very much to keep Mr. Kevin O'Shea this side of the border. Thank you very much. The reason I'm thanking you this is because Mr. Kevin O'Shea was supposed to be the presenter here today, but unfortunately he's stuck in the States because he's going to get his citizenship from the States pretty soon. So he had to give his passport. The reason he's not here today. So I'm totally happy about it. I see him 2-3 times a year, so it's enough. Okay. So guys, here is the idea. I heard that we have to present something. And the idea, guys, I'm Sony Trudel working for Hydromobile since 2006. I'm actually in charge of all engineering made at Hydro, and especially involved in special projects, custom solutions, and everything. So I'm also part with Ted. I'm part of the NC committees for mass lammers and transport platform. I'm also the chairman of the subcommittee for mass lammers and transport platform for Canada. So, and the reason of that presentation here today is to give you a heads up of what's going on here with the CSA standards. And also, I'm going to start with one very important topic, which is the material hoist, or the jib cranes they put on mass lammers, which is, as all of you know, it makes a huge story in the States. So roughly what we talk about here is, we talk about on mass lammers, we have, right here, we have, it's a monorail to be able to lift material from the ground to bring it on the platform. It's a lot faster to bring material on board. So actually what happened is OSHA came to us, and in 2010, they were talking about it, and they released a letter in 2011 saying that hull hoist mounted on mass lammers were falling under the cranes and derricks regulations. So most of people here know about it. Kevin gave us the story many, many times. But roughly, what we had is with the limitations, the interpretation of the letter sent in 2011 was everything that was lifting more than 2,000 pounds, supported on the mobile scaffolding. This was governed by the cranes and derricks, and people, the users, employees, they had to go to be trained by a certain entity in the States to be a crane operator, which is totally different. All of you know, but with regulations, sometimes you have to work very hard. So, this being said, what happened is the impact of that letter is that all, like hydromobile, we have on our M2, we have dual axis, so it's motorized in and out and motorized up and down. Like Betamax has the same, Fraco has the hoist that rotates around the mast. So all of those, if you are higher than 2,000 pounds, you are falling under the regulation, and you had to be trained as a crane operator. So crane operators has to be certified in the States by a nationally recognized entity like the NCCCO and things like that, similar companies like that. So what happened is Kevin O'Shea, which is a good guy to make some lobbying about all of that, he went and discussed about with all regulation departments and things like that. So in the end, okay, we're okay. We'll ask these training facilities or training companies where, okay, I'm ready, I have a hoist in my mass slammer, I want to be trained. So after calling 3 of those, all 3 organisms were saying, hey, your machine is not a crane. What are you seeing here? It's not a crane at all. So you're not here. You cannot follow the training. So from there, the industry was left with a huge problem. We have hoists since long time, since many years. We have safeties over these hoists, and we cannot use them anymore other than if they lift lower than 2,000 pounds. The threshold was pretty, a ton of material is not that much, so this wasn't an issue for us. So, for the last 5 years, Kevin, Ted, many people, SAIA completely, guys were pushing and giving, try to get people understand our industry, what's the purpose of these hoists, how beneficial it is for us. So, again, it's a lot of talk, a lot of emails, communications. So, the main goal for us is OSHA, because OSHA, when you want to get those involved in your subcommittees, it's pretty hard. They don't want to commit themselves, but they refuse a lot of things, for sure. So now, with OSHA, talking with those for the last 5 years was, first, OSHA, can you recognize that we have a problem? We are asked to be crane operators, but if we want to get trained, we say, hey, get out of here. You're not here. It's not a crane. So we wanted OSHA to understand the problem. We wanted OSHA to recognize that the nature of the hoist, what is the purpose of it, to understand the application of it. And then to see that it's a significant issue that we have for the industry, for all manufacturers, even not for manufacturers, the users, the GCs. They have to lift up huge pallet of bricks, any kind of material, they have to bring it up. Otherwise, it's not efficient. You have to dismantle, go down with your platform, cancel a lot of efficiency of the platform. So, as a second mandate, we needed to find a way to sneak around the rules to make these people understand. Guys, we have to be exempt from that regulation. It's very, very important for everybody here in working in construction. So after this being said, it's fucking long text. Oh, sorry. Very sorry. Thank you. Guys, in the end, here we have in Washington what happened when the Department of Labor, they decided to go. And what they decided is that they decided to exclude the monorail that would be installed certain, and they would be out of the cranes and derricks regulations for construction. This was a good start for us, and this is very important. Actually, the policy changed because now it's open. We are now allowed to come back. And what happened was we needed to make a response to, they had to open their ears and see that there was a problem. So they made the commitment and the change over the standards. And in the end, if people, you can have just a minute. Yeah. So in the end, if you can prove that your equipment is based and will respect some requirements, you will be able to use your hoist as you want. And mainly, the OSHA policy change, what it means is that now you have to follow a different standard. And the standard is, as we can see here, we talk about a few of those standards. So with a 29 CFR, so for the overhead crane, we have to respect the overhead crane. There are some requirements about how you train people. The operator training has to respect the 1926-21. And this is like that. So, and the employer has the responsibility to ensure that all his employees will be trained and will be able to recognize everything or fall hazard, any bad situation present on a job site. So mainly we now will have to be governed by the overhead crane standard on the way the machine is designed, the way you train, you have all these subjects. And exactly. So this is mostly what the change made by OSHA. So if we go step by step, if you come back to the 554, these are minor stuff. And guys, you know the industry, you know what's going on. We are not in a crane industry. So mainly what do we have? The most important thing is the safe working load has to be written on the equipment, you know? And the structure has to be designed to resist the maximum capacity of the winch. As a second one, the supporting structure, exactly, I just said it. So the supporting structure to which the hoist is attached shall have a safe working load equal to that of the hoist. This is common sense. Again, common sense makes a lot of things easier. The support shall also be arranged to provide free movement of the hoist. So this means the hoist can move a little, making sure that it's centered on with the load. It's a lot better for the movement of the loads. The hoist shall be installed only in locations that will permit the operator to stay clear from it, you know? Always being in a safe positioning. Safe position being away from any hazards that could occur. And all overhead hoist in use shall meet with the application requirements for construction, design, installation, everything. And also on top of that, if I use a hoist and I bring it on a mast climber, I make sure that this added dead load or live load at the same time will respect all requirements in the design of the mast climber. So this is the same for if you equip a hoist on a truck, on any type of vehicle. The hoist is okay, you respect the overhead crane, but then you have to make sure you respect all other criteria. Okay, so as a second item brought by OSHA was the safety training, the Article 21. So in the end, you have to make sure that the program is mounted, and you have to supervise the program for the education and training of employers and employees in the recognition, avoidance, and prevention of unsafe conditions, as I said earlier. People have to be trained to recognize those potential hazards. And the employer has to be sure that all employees are trained for that. And in the end, the employer has to release or give the possibility to an employee to use the crane or the hoist only if he has experience with it, making sure he's always safe. So mainly, these are the requirements now that the manufacturers or end users will have to follow to make sure you can use a horizontally mounted monorail system on a mast climber. On that slide, what we have, I don't even know the manufacturer of it, but this is the exact picture taken from the document from OSHA. So this is the typical monorail beam that you can see going forward, back and forth, to lift the material from the behind the machine, lift it up, and then employees can install the material, the glass, whatever. Now, this setup is exempt from the crane regulations, and also anything which lifts less than 2,000 pounds, this is still out of the cranes and derricks. So please, I think we can applaud the SAIA, everybody, because I think it's a good win that we have this year. I don't know you guys, me being a manufacturer, we knew that the date was coming, November 2011, not 2011, 2015 at the beginning, and then it was coming. And we know that our users could not use our hoist anymore. So as a manufacturer, we even went to decreasing the maximum pressure on the system to allow our user to use their hoist with reduced capacity. Here, this, if we come back just one slide, this is for horizontally mounted monorail. Actually, we have, and me as a manufacturer again, I have a lot of my customers, they call me, hey, Sony, it would be nice to have a hoist mounted on the mast. Yes, very nice design. All the load is transferred directly in the mast. No bending, it's perfect. You don't reduce, you don't take room on the platform. Unfortunately, the one which is the designer of that hoist is Fracco, and the swing hoist around the mast is still not approved. So Kevin will work hard to continue, and with the SAIA, to continue to fight against the regulations to make sure that this hoist will also be accepted. We don't know when, but we want, this is our goal, to make sure that all existing hoists that we have, and even for me, maybe I'm gonna have one sometime for hydromobile. So actually, that's the point. The swinging hoists mounted on the mast are still not approved, and we'll work hard to get it approved. Okay. So this summarizes the situation with material hoists mounted on mast climbers, mainly. We were not allowed to use those, but now we will come back before 2010. As long as we respect the overhead cranes, we have good training, we ensure all employees know and become almost a competent person because they can identify hazards and predict any potential hazardous situation. This would make a stop to the hoist, and again, we'll have a new win this year because we'll switch to the standards. Again, as I said, I'm chair of the subcommittee for mast climbers and transit platform in Canada. And I've been working very hard with a bunch of people here. Ted is also there joining us in the subcommittees. I have Kevin, I have people, I have Jay Gordon, many of those. Francois is with us. Many people, manufacturers, users, regulators, to put all of those standards together. So here today, I'm going to give you an heads up of what happened lately over the all different B354 standards. So, this being said, yeah. As a first, and I remember we were in Seattle, and the main goal was in order also to, when we communicate with people, sometimes it's hard. The definitions are not the same. The interpretation you can do in your very, very small world can mean different things for other people. So our first goal is, and we spent 2 days at the whole group to try to find an universal list of definitions that would go for all the type of MUPs, the mast lammers, transport platform. What is a platform? What is a mast? What means stability? All these definitions. So what we said, we were very hard to harmonize from Canada to the States to have the same definitions. So from that, each subcommittee was referring to the universal list, and we're choosing, the terms, and we were applying that to my self-propelled elevating platform or my transport platform. So this was done. This was done. Excuse me. This was done pretty nice. The second point was to review the way the standard documentation are made. So mainly, you want a standard, you have to buy the whole book, and sometimes you just need a very small section of that book. So, and this was an agreement, and the states in America for NC standards, they will do the same. We are already in the process to do the same. So this means we have a big book, but we'll separate in different sections. So this was the second goal, and finally, for sure, is to upgrade with any new activities, any new applications. If we can get more detailed standards, it's a lot better to get those more clear to understand, making sure that the interpretation is not confusing people. So these were our 3 main goals. So what we had beforehand, the different standards that we have, but we separate the B354 in 2 different categories: elevating platforms and the climbing platforms. So roughly what we had is portable, self-propelled, and self-propelled boom. All of those, including a scissors, and you have others too. So this is the first family, and you have a second, which is the climbing for mast lammers and transport platform. But at that time, the 0.6 was just under construction. I joined Hydromobile in 2006. I came on the board for CSA in 2007, and we had already the draft for the transport platform at that time. So what happened? Again, what we wanted to do is, after all definitions are harmonized together, we wanted to review the way they are made, the standard. So if we look before, all topics are combined in a single document, and this was including the design, criterias, mostly for manufacturers, designers. Then you had the safe use and the best practices for the users, and the training for training bodies and training organisms and stuff like that. So now the goal in CSA is going this way, and NC is also going the same route. The standards will be divided in 3 different sections. First is design, second safety, and the third is training. And you will see how we concluded, or all the documents will be finally made. But roughly, this was the second goal. So actually, to include all of the MCWPs, all mobile elevating work platforms, we have now 3 documents to summarize and include everything. I don't know if you know Tony Grote, but these guys, with his group, they had to merge a bunch of different equipment. And they succeeded, and they made 3 different documents, including everything. So now the point 6, that was our draft for the transport platform, became officially the design standard for the MCWPs. The point 7 is for safety principles, inspection, maintenance, operation. What is the best way what are the best practices I should adopt to get a good machine, safe, long-lasting, everything? What are the best practices I should transfer and educate my employees to continue to follow and making sure that we have no bad incidents? So this is the second one, which is very important. And the last one is the training. How do we train our workers? So again, 3 documents. And in the end, what you will find out if you go on the CSA shop website, you can buy only 2 items. The first item is the design, because again, design is for the manufacturers, the designers, or people, any people who want some more technical information. For the 2 others, safe use and training, these are related to each other. So what we, as the CSA committee, what we decided is to combine these 2 as a single book. So if you go on the CSA shop website, you can buy the first, design, or both safe use and training together. Finally, me and Tony were discussing earlier, but Tony said that the publish date for the latest versions of these standards, all combined together for different equipment. Me, I've been told by the secretary from CSA was April, but Tony told me May 17. One thing is clear, today it's out, it's on the market. You can go, I can place the orders if you want, no problem. I take cash only, by the way. So congratulations for Tony and his team. They were very, very hard. And yep, it's very a lot of hours, a lot of discussions, a lot of meetings, conference calls, video conference. It's a lot. So this is for the first family, for the MCWPs. If we talk about the mast climbers, we have 2 categories. We have the platforms you can work from, or the platform you can only transfer people or material inside of the building. So mainly mast climbers is up and down, and the transport is up, go in to bring people, material. So for these 2 industries, even if they run the same mast, even if they are similar equipment, as a subcommittee, we decided to keep those separate. So we didn't merge the mast climbing design with the transport platform design. They have certain topics, certain assets to take care of. So we decided to do it like that. Again, all split in 3. Design, safe use, and training. Safe use and training are joined together. But the book will be made 2 front page, dang, 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 and then the second document, front page, definitions, everything. So for us, we, as the climber subcommittee, me and Tom wanted to beat Tony. Unfortunately, we didn't. So our standard came out 1 month after. But it is, I'm glad, because I've spent a lot of time with the team to get our first Canadian transport platform. Now it's not a transport. The transport is on the other one, but congratulations to my team because we were very hard. The Masslimer is now up to date for ultra standards. And again, same page, same information, same time that the standards were published on the market. But for, again, as I said earlier, I came in 2006. This was a draft. 11 years after, we have the standard published officially. So now, for people who are in the transport platform industry, we still have a lot of fights to make. We have TSSA in Ontario. We have the culture. We have to continue to educate the industry about the transport platform. It's similar equipment to personal hoists, but again, personal hoist is separate. Me, I'm happy about that. And yeah, a lot of hours, guys, a lot. So for the update over the standards, the Canadian standards versus the NC, I talked slowly about the NC down the road. We follow. We are very close to each other. We have the same the people, the members are many times on both committees. So that's why we try to harmonize to making sure that when we push on one side, we push on the other side too. As a few topics that I can bring on the table, let's say even for transport platform or Masslimers, even for the scissor industry, swing stages, the NDT, non-destructive testing inspection is more and more important, and it is mandatory. So manufacturer can specify when to do these inspections. Visual, we start visual, and we go deeper and deeper. But now the industry is really looking at all manufacturers, how old is the equipment. So in the Masslimers and into the Masslimer working platform, transport platform, we added topic for NDT, the inspections. What are the requirements for every month, every 6 months, every year, every 5 years, every 10 years? What do you do? So we added those topics to the standard. Some more about the transport platform. I just getting those examples from my mind. When you get the transport platform, we've put some more meat, around the gates on the building. And also, on top of the whole standard, you guys, when you go totally far down the road, at 2 hours drive, nobody lives there, you will not not design the machine. You don't have the same amount of safety because you don't have pedestrian to protect and things like that. But it's very important to keep the safety and the transport platform because sometimes you have to protect about pedestrian or no, you don't need a tape barrier to limit your ground the ground area. So that's why all the standard is based on the risk analysis. As a minimum, you have to do this. But if you have the local regulation, and if you are in this city, you have to go higher on the safety. As a very, very simple example. In the States, even lately, TSSA, or even everywhere in Canada, the only reference we have in the market is the NC A9210 standard. Okay, so that standard in the States, 42 inches guardrail is fine. You can have a transport platform 42 inches. But if you cross the border and if you go into Ontario, It's fully enclosed, 6 feet and 6 inches. The gate on the building have to be full height. So the requirements are different from one province to one state to one city. So that's why the whole standard is based on the risk analysis. As a minimum, you deliver this. If you have no choice, you go. Here is the other solution if you want to be safer. Mainly, guys, this is what I can tell you about what happened with the standards, CSA, ANSI, and new situation for the hoist, which is very interesting for us. Thank you very much for your time.